2024, the Korea Aviation Exploration Foundation or KASA sends a manned mission to the moon to be essential for the nation that have effectively arrived on it. Sadly, during that mission, every one of the space traveler pass on because of a specialized error that causes a space apparatus to denotate when it attempts to land, leaving everybody in South Korea stunned and disheartened. After 5 years in 2029, South Korea is endeavoring to send 3 space explorers to the moon once more, expecting to recapture their standing. The 3 space travelers are leader Lee, Cho and Wang, and they get serious preparation to plan for the outing, not needing a rehash of last time. Before they remove, the space explorers share a couple words with the general population. Lee says he will choose the name for his unborn child young lady when he is on the mission while taking a gender at the Earth. Cho is going for his significant other and child, and Wang is going to satisfy his dead dad fantasies. It turns out he is the child of one of the space travelers from the past mission. At the point when the day comes, the boat is sent off effectively, but they before long are hit by sunlight-based barriers that cause weighty harm, cutting down the electronic control unit and the root framework. The space travelers have lost contact with the control room, and the clergymen of science and innovation need to show up on public TV to quiet down every one of the space residents, while the press simply aggravates it with hypotheses of destruction. In the interim, Lee and Cho are checking the shuttle from an external perspective since they accept that they would have the option to fix it. Wang, who has restricted information about the innovation, is getting exceptionally jumpy. However, his 2 accomplices tell him to keep composed as they guarantee him that they have everything taken care of. The space explorer notices that there is a break in the gas tank, and before they might handle the data, there is a gigantic blast wherein Cho promptly loses his life. Yet commandantly figures out how to hold on to his axe and not move amazed by the blast. The space research focus gets correspondences with the boat back just for a couple of moments, and soon they lose it once more. In any case, they become mindful that they cannot pursue Cho's vital. Wang frantically demands attempting to go out to help, yet Lee brings up that opening the trapdoor will just kill him. Lee understands that he cannot survive that perilous situation, and in his last minute, he asks Wang to reboot the full framework power so he can get the interchange on and makes him guarantee he will get back securely. Wang shouts as he watches Authority Lee open his trapdoor and vanish into insensibility until the end of time. Minutes after the fact, interchanges are rebooted, and a crushed Wang shows up on the screen to convey the awful news. The KASA chief advises him to sit tight while they search for an answer. Furthermore, the clergyman panics, not having any desire to lose another mission. The researchers examine their choices and acknowledge they must choose the option to bring back the overseer of the last mission, since he planned the greater part of their hardware and conventions. The last chief is King, who is right now with understudy Hang Biel on a mountain doing some hunting since he has been remaining away from KASA after the bomb the last mission. These days he works for an observatory. The creature thereafter taken off when the KASA helicopter abruptly shows up above them, and they take the converse with the observatory where Kim quickly will not return. Anyway, he changes his mind when he discovered that Wang is the child of one of the space travelers from the last mission. In the control room, the researchers are getting stressed in light of the fact that the temperature in the boat is getting extremely low. As the pastor begins to overreact once more, Kim shows up and guides Wang the most proficient method to make, as it were, one engine move the boat into lunar cycle. The arrangement is a triumph, and as the temperature climbs in the shuttle, it likewise begins turning in circle, which is a lot more secure. Then at that point, Kim advises Wang to rest, while they search for an answer for bringing him back, and a befuddled Wang asks the control room who he is conversing with. At that point, when Wang hears the name, he quickly has flashback of his dad's memorial service and Kim's presence in it. This makes him go after other space explorer family photographs, knowing precisely the way that they might feel now. Meanwhile, Kim calls his ex-moon youthful, who is certainly working at NASA. Sadly, she illuminates him that NASA won't help, considering what is going on to be a waste of time. Subsequent to hanging up, Kim is found by Hang Biol, who illuminates him that everybody is overreacting in light of the fact that Wang is isolating the leader without consent. Kim races to convince with Wang to say this is an ill-conceived nation, yet Wang will not tune in. He doesn't need to place his life in Kim's griefs since he neglected to save his dad, and he has proactively made his choice. He will arrive on the moon at any expense for the space explorer who had lost their lives, for his dad, and for South Korea. As the South Korea residents, the press go off the deep end about the news. Hang Byul tells Kim of the opportunity of a meteor shower, and Kim requested that she watch out for it while he deals with an arrangement for fixes. In the meantime, the researcher makes an honest effort to direct with Wang, who is relying upon autopilot to do this. Kim can't quite thinking about everything he did with the past mission, and the day he meets a lot more youthful Wang, panic that this arrival will bomb like last time. Everybody gets apprehensive when the lander gets acquiring speed. However, fortunately it lands effectively. Individuals in South Korea celebrated, and when Wang at last strikes onto the moon's surface, he takes his kindred space explorer griefs in addition to an image of the group to put them on a superficial level. He likewise sets up the South Korea banner. A short time later, he goes out on the Wanderer to satisfy the mission of gathering tests while the robot monitors the environmental factors. Kim talks about choices with the researcher group to fix the framework while the South Korea president seems to give a discourse, frantically requesting that NASA assist them with bringing Wang back. Moon youthful attempts to pursue the NASA higher up, yet they deny due to the conceivable meteor shower and say Moon's judgment is obscured by her affection for her ex. At that point, Hang Byul sees some troubling reading on her tablet and races to tell Young that NASA is right. The meteor shower is coming excessively near the moon. Back to Wang, he is pleased to report that he has gathered all the tests including rice from under the moon's surface. He additionally feels that the reading must have committed an error since he has been watching sky action and nothing showed up to the radar. Anyway, soon the region begins shaking and the meteors start falling around Wang, sending him flying. The researcher requesting him to get inside the lander rapidly, and Wang attempts to escape on the mirror. However, an especially large meteor lands and make a blast that stalls the vehicle out inside a pit. Against the chief's desire, Kim requested that a researcher reset the space apparatus module framework with another code he is planned, which actually fixes the module and brings back capacity to the boat. In the interim, Wang requires his robot, which he used to lift himself out of the pit. He rapidly runs among the falling meteors and figures out how to get inside the lander in the nick of time. The lander takes off effectively, and the following stage is to interface it to the other module. They should rely upon autopilot again to do the docking, and fortunately it works out in a good way. In any case, before one can move to the primary boat, a meteor starts thing up around town, obliterating a major part of it and sending it into a rapid fall. Kim advises Wang to change to manual mode. However, the lander is taking excessively and he can't arrive at the controls. Abruptly, Wang coincidentally breathes in alkali and starts feeling lightheaded, so he goes after his cab. However, it is past the point of no returns. Wang drops and the lander crashes and the control room loses all interchanges. The PC can't fight Wang's vehicle either, and following 4 hours of bombs endeavor to reconnect, Wang is authoritatively proclaimed dead. While media sources cover one more bombed mission, Kim gets back, and since he can't manage another disappointment, he attempts to self-razor. However, Hang Byul stops him in just time. At that point, Kim receives a message from Moon Youthful, letting him know that Young is still alive, which she knows since NASA station captures the radio message that Wang is attempting to send to his own space station. Moon Youthful additionally gives Kim the code to get the recurrence, so he and Hang Byul hurry to get some old hardware from the observatory and figure out how to hear Wang's SOS message. Hang Byul promptly starts recording it while Kim asks Wang for his status, learning that he doesn't have a lot of force or oxygen left and that the meteor shower is as yet going. Kim tells him to remain in the lander while he figures out how to help, and at that point a helicopter shows. It turns out Hang Byul called a crisis administration saying Kim was passing on from a coronal failure just so he would be gotten rapidly. The helicopter returns Kim to the Casa base camp while Hang Byul posted Young's SOS message on YouTube, which promptly becomes a web sensation. While Wang does his best to deal with his injuries with anything he has accessible, Hang Byul stays with him by conversing with him through the comms. Anyway, he possibly winds up irritating him when she breaks down as though she knows him since he read a couple of online articles. On account of the sound becoming a web sensation, individuals all around the world are supporting Wang and constraining NASA into sending help. The NASA higher-ups need to realize who released the data and quickly get due of Moon Youthful. However, before they can check her telephone, they get a call from the White House. After bunches of work from CASA, they figure out how to get correspondence functioning with the lander once more. Anyway, the pastor isn't cheerful, saying it is a waste of time to restore Wang in the eye of general society in the event that they will kill him again later on the grounds that they might not bring him at any point back. Abruptly, the matter shall start deteriorating. Furthermore, he needs to move Wang to a more secure spot. He simply doesn't have the foggiest idea where. At that point, uplifting news show up from the USA. The White House has requested NASA to help Wang, which is now arriving at news outlets all around the world as well. The American Lunar Station and Moon Youthful reach out to CASA to begin arranging the stabilities of the salvage mission. Yet at the NASA office, Moon Youthful is being kicked out and stripped of the disciplinary council. They just are permitting her to remain for this last mission to look really great for the White House. After Moon Youthful cautions them they will just have one attempt to pull this off, the American station gets on the way so they can dock with the South Korea's transport. Wang attempts to send off the lander once more. However, after a bunch of shaking, it sadly neglects to take off in the light of fact that it needs more space and it doesn't adjust accurately. Kim attempts to tell Wang to cut short, however it is past the point of no returns. The lander fall on the ground and start moving around for a few minutes until it fall into cavity once more and the dock port is obliterated. The American station reports they cannot keep up with the speed and stand by any longer. So Moon Youthful must choose between limited option in any case to drop the salvage mission. A frantic Kim attempts to give Wang a couple of thoughts to get the lander going, yet Wang has surrendered and shut down all the frameworks, including the oxygen supply. Kim does whatever it takes not to resemble his dad. But whether Wang utilized the second to make an admission, he has seen reality of his dad's will. Incidentally, his dad knew a month prior to the first moon mission that the motor has deficiencies, but chosen to go on the mission in any case since he was that hungry for progress. Anyway, Kim hinders him, saying he doesn't have the foggiest idea about the full story. Kim requests that Wang excuse his dad since it wasn't his issue. A day period to the send-off, his dad enlightened Kim considering the flowing motor and requested a 2-month delay. Yet since the chance of a mishap were negligible, the enraged Kim processed the send-off at any rate in the light of the fact that the mission had been deferred so often that he was unable to rehash it. Weeping hysterically, Kim asks Wang to return. Everybody is beginning to lose trust, however, unexpectedly the PC declared the oxygen supplier in the boat is back on. Wang has at last excused his dad and it is all set, so he requests orders. In the interim, Moon Youthful additionally hears the entire thing and chooses to overlook in any case, order to reach out to CASA once more and make another arrangement since he will be terminated. Kim is stressed over the wrecked dock. However, Moon Youthful trusts he can track down an answer. Kim surges back to the control room and along with the researcher, they guide Wang to head outside, once more, physically enact the engines. Now that he is in a space with more space, this permits him to effectively sense of the order module. In the meantime, Moon Youthful secures herself in her office also, lay out contact with the space traveler at the American station. She lets them know that there is no mandate from the public authorities. Yet she requests to them by advising them that they are all from various nations yet they are space travelers. So a call for help from an individual space explorer ought to not be overlooked as a result of ethnicities. Her call is interrupted on when the higher-up at last break into the room and remove her. Back to Wang, he sees that the boat is coming to the more splendid side of the moon, yet that arrival will be unimaginable. So he makes an arrangement. Subsequent to getting all the recollection from different space travelers, he lashes the robot around his body. Kim orders him to open the portal and hop, and after bunches of overriding and fear, one venture off the launcher. He creeps around for a few minutes and when he is sufficiently close to the surface, he initiates the robot, which shakes him around a piece until they hit the ground. Interchanges are out of nowhere lost. Furthermore, everybody in the control room expected to be absolutely awful. At that point, the American station reports are drawing nearer to execute the salvage. Fortunately, the robot is as yet working and figures out how to record Wang's face. He was woken, so he hears the message and figures out how to send his direction to the heroes. Minute after the fact, pictures of Wang being dealt with the American group arrives at each media source and everybody all over the planet celebrates. After this achievement, the CASA chief maintained that Kim should return to his work. Yet Kim rejects and passes on to return to his observatory. At the point when Wang gets back to South Korea, the clergyman gets him with fervor. Imagining he generally trusted in him, the nation thinks of him as a legend. However, after the gentle discourse, Wang forces on Convi the memory of his kindred space traveler. He visits the families also, give them one of the things he protects from the boat. Let Liz better have know that the leader had certainly picked a name for the child and chose child that his father is presently on the moon. After a month, it is reported that the global space board is permitting South Korea to join as the 10th country. It is additionally uncovered that Moon Youthful has turned into the primary female head of NASA, which was the request sent from the White House. In the meantime, in the observatory, Kim is getting an instructor and her class of energized children to find out about space. One of the representatives is dressed as a space explorer to show them how the suit functions. Yet when he eliminates his protective cap, Kim is stunned to see it is really Wang. The two men share a salute in regard for what they went through together.
For watching.